What is up, guys? Welcome to DCEU week, where I'm going through and reviewing all the films before Justice League. The films that I haven't reviewed on this channel yet. So I've already reviewed Wonder Woman, so don't worry about that one. You guys can find that review on my channel over on there, so just go check that out. But we're talking about Man of Steel, the first film in this DC universe, and it's starring Henry Cavill, directed by Zack Snyder, and starring Michael Shannon as well as General Zod. And you know, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see this movie in the theaters. It took me a while. I remember it came out on HBO, I watched it, and I thought, it's alright. But for some reason, every time I head back to see this film, I find myself loving it. And I'm to that point where, like, I've seen it around 10 or 12 times now, and this will probably be my 13th time after watching it again. And I absolutely am in love with this film. I think this film is brilliant on a ton of levels. I will address the pacing in here is a little slow. I will address that. I think the pacing is a little slow, and I think the story and some of the scenes could have been chopped up a bit better, so the movement of the film would have been better. Because it is almost a 2.5-hour film, which is pretty long for an origin story for a Superman, but I'm not going to totally flack it for that. But really, I think that's my one complaint with this. Besides that, I love the dark tone that Zack Snyder took with this Superman film. I also really love Henry Cavill's portrayal of Superman and Clark Kent. I think he's brilliant in the role. To be honest, he's my favorite Superman. I know some people might be like, well, what about the other ones? This is my favorite interpretation of Superman. Maybe it's just because, like, I like when stuff is darker, in my opinion, but I think that's what I like. It's gritty, it's darker, but I also like the flashbacks in here when we get to see Clark Kent as a kid, and I think those are some of the best aspects of the film. I think a brilliant thing that they did was casting his parents as Diane Lane and Kevin Costner, and they're both great as Clark Kent's parents. I love them, but of course they're not the real parents, and that's where we get to the beginning and the opening of this film, where we're on Krypton, the destruction of Krypton, which really is one of the most brilliant sequences I've ever seen in a comic book movie in general. I think it's beautiful beyond belief. I think it's just so stunning, and the CGI still holds up, and of course Russell Crowe plays Jor-El, and he's just brilliant in that role. Just for the small amount of screen time he can have in this film, he leaves an impact on here, and that's really the beginning of this film. The setup is what really brings me into this film, and I just love the world. I would love to see a prequel movie on Krypton before it got destroyed, because it's just beautiful beyond belief. And I think the most brilliant thing about this film is that the fact that Michael Shannon's General Zod isn't just this one noted villain. He's actually a villain that has a purpose, and he has a purpose where at the same point you can look at him and be like, I understand your purpose, it just kind of sucks that you're trying to kill everyone, but it makes sense for what General Zod is trying to do to save his kind, and I love seeing that. General Zod, really, I just love Michael Shannon in that role. I think Michael Shannon was so damn well in Man of Steel. He's one of my favorite comic book villain portrayals ever. I just love it. Like I said, going from there, the action sequences in here. I know some people have problems with how Superman is pretty much destroying towns, destroying cities, I mean, with this whole fight scene. But I love the brilliant aspects of it. I think it's so top-notch, just the CGI and everything. Zack Snyder's sway of the camera back and forth, and how he's fighting Zod, especially when he's just punching him right through the buildings. I just love that scene to death. But I think the one scene that I think a lot of people do have problems with in this film, which I will address, and it is a spoiler, so for some reason you haven't seen this film, which came out in 2013, maybe sway away from the review and just go watch it, because I think this movie is worth checking out. But it is the scene when Superman snaps Zod's neck. It's one of the most controversial scenes. It's like, Superman doesn't kill people, but in the main situation, it's either Superman kills him or he kills people, and it's such a every time I see that scene, it gives me shivers and goosebumps, and I absolutely adore the scene for what it is and for the ramifications that it's going to have for the future of the DCEU from here. I mean, on a technical level, this movie's brilliant. It's beautiful beyond belief. I think this is one of Zack Snyder's better directed films. I think other than the pacing, this film could have been just a little bit faster paced at some scenes, but I understand. It gave good backstory, it gave good origin. We had a lot of setup in Krypton, which we've never seen before, which is awesome. And also, I love the score in here. I think the score is brilliant, of course. All that said, I'm gonna have to give Man of Steel an A-. For this film, it's really well done. I think if you guys haven't seen it in a while and you guys are wondering, I didn't like it my first time, maybe check it out again. I think you guys might be underrated. I think this is one of those films that when people check it out again, they start liking more and more. I'm not the only one that has done this. I know multiple people that have found the same thing. They see this film, they're like, hey, that was actually pretty good. Oh, hey, it was even better. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to say about Man of Steel. maybe the other DCEU movies. We'll be talking about Batman vs. Superman tomorrow, guys, so make sure to look out for that. And if you're new, make sure to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a video. Of course, guys, I am now associated with Sandwichjohnfilms, so make sure to check out their YouTube channel and their website down below. They give giveaways for early screeners for movies, so you guys can win one of those and go see a movie early. Who knows? But as always, guys, stay classy and have a great rest of your day.